Hey guys, Horrorman back for another review. So today we've got a very cool, unexpected review. NECA for the third year in a row has released some DC figures just in time for Christmas in the 7-inch scale. This is completely unannounced. Now you can pick these up at Toys R Us in stores only in the United States, and they're $19.99 a piece. You do not have to buy the movie with these. Now, just like last year, you are getting one other character too, and you have the Harley Quinn from Arkham City. So these are both available now. Get them while you can, because these are definitely going to fly off the shelves. Now, if you remember the past couple exclusives, the first one they did was the 1989 Batman of Michael Keaton. Very cool figure, one of my favorites, and this was definitely one that I was again looking for a long time, and NECA finally delivered with that. And then last year we actually got the 1966 Batman, played by Adam West. So the Batman is again 7-inch scale, and it comes in a little bit different box than we saw with the quarter scale. This is actually what they used in 2005 when Batman Begins came out. This was basically the merchandising images for the figures back in 2005. So it's very cool they did that. It's a bit of a throwback, and it's very reminiscent of what they did with their 1989 Batman. You can see a really cool picture on the side, and then one other one on this side. And then on the back, you see the figure, and then you could get a little bio of Batman Begins. Now, it is worth noting that the figures pictured here are the quarter scale version. These are kind of last minute figures, so I guess they didn't do any new photography. But that's pretty much what they've done with all these releases. All right, and then on the bottom, you could just see the credits for NECA and DC. And then the top just has the Batman Begins logo and 14 and up. Alright, so let's go ahead and take this out of the box and get a closer look. Alright, so here he is out of the packaging. Now let's get a close-up of the head sculpt. Alright, so here he is a little closer, and I really like this head sculpt on here. I've always been fond of the Batman Begins cowl, so it's really cool to see, NECA finally giving us a much different, Batman figure. So you can see the cowl is one piece. They didn't do any kind of like neck cuts, or anything like that, which I really like. But very cool looking, great looking cowl. I like the little details and line work, around the forehead and right over the eyes. And you can even see more just underneath the eyes. The mouth on this is really good. I mean, they've really done a lot of detail here to really make it look like Christian Bale. And then the eyes are okay. Like, I know people have kind of been a little disappointed with the eyes on this figure. I think I got one of the best ones of the batch. But yeah, like the quarter scale looked a little bit better, obviously, with the eyes, but I don't think it's really that bad. It's not like a deal breaker or anything, but yeah, you may want to just look through, if you come across the Toys R Us that has multiples, try to get the best one you can. But for the most part, I think they've done a really good job with this head sculpt. And then you can see like these little pieces here generally attached to the cape. I like that they didn't quite attach them because it does kind of give him a little bit of range of movement as opposed to not being able to move his neck at all. So if you do turn the head, you can see these little pieces that are shiny here. You actually would have to kind of peel those up. Looks like they are glued to the actual figure, so that's not going to come off there easily. So if you do decide to change the cape, just keep that in mind. Now the belt on this is also really well done. I think NECA really nails it here. It's got this gold finish, and then you can see all the little details, some black, some silver mixed in here. See where the belt kind of like attaches together in the back. Little compartments, all these little pieces are really well done. It does kind of seem like it's very tight, so I don't think really adjusting it would be a good idea. In case yours is off center or too low or anything like that, I would probably just leave it the way it is. But looking at the torso of the figure, again, it's really well detailed. Now this cape we'll get to in a little bit, but it is nice that you can kind of easily move this back, and then you can see all the details in this suit. And I really like this. They've actually used more of like a matte finish on the suit, but when you get down to the like the gauntlets on here, you can see that they've gone with a much shinier look, which I really like. This suit had a lot of separations between like the gloss and the matte, so it's good that they actually remember to do that. And then the back of the figure, you can see a lot of details as well. He's got all these different like sculpt work in the back. It's really cool that they actually did that instead of just leaving it so plain. And then down even to the boots, you can see again that gloss work is present here in like the front, the back. You can see a little bit of shine. As far as the cape, I'm pretty happy with it. What I do like about it is you can drape this around him like he was in the movie. A lot of times you'd see him like this where the cape was fully draped over. And I really like that they actually gave us the ability to do that. And again, I mean, it's got enough weight to it that you can just put it back in any fashion that you want, and it'll stay that way. Now, if you wanted to, you could probably put some wire in this cape, either through here or just find a certain way to do it. And if you spread it out, you can see that they've really done a lot of detail work on here. In the back of the cape, you can see how nice it drapes down. And for the first accessory that you get the grapnel gun, of course. And this is really well done. You can see the paint and details on here, really good for the size. See like a little grip on the handle. The gold was really nice, black, so really good little details on here. You can of course get a couple different hands. This is going to be your hand to hold the grapple gun, and you can see there's little even like holes in the inside of the glove. And if you remember Batman Begins, he actually took the gloves to the cape and it was able to basically manipulate the cape to stay in a like wing design so he could fly. And then you do get a couple fisted hands. This additional hand you get is just like a little hand to hold the batarang. It's almost in a fist, but it's just got a little bit of an opening at the top here. You get this little gun clip to put on his belt. Also get these two batarangs. One is really small and one's a decent size. And to interchange the hands, it's fairly easy. You're just going to grab this gauntlet as hard as you can and then give it a little bit of a tug, and then it should come off of there. And then you're just going to put, let's say, this trigger finger on here, and you got a little peg, and then you just push this in. And here he is holding the grapple gun. You can see he holds it pretty well in that hand. You can even get the trigger finger into the actual trigger. For the batarang, you can see he holds it pretty good in this left hand. You can also wield the much bigger batarang. Articulation's not bad on the Batman. It's not as good as the quarter scale, but of course, I mean, everybody should know that. So let's go ahead and get it right into that. The head can turn left to right pretty easily. He can't really look down too much, or he can look like straight forward, but he can't really look up. And then you can kind of angle the head just a little bit. The actual arms come out pretty far. That's about it. And then you can go down pretty far as well. He's got a single hinge for the elbow. You can turn the arm just a little bit here. The wrist articulation, you can go like cradle the wrist just a little bit. He does have a little bit of a twist at the ab, not so much an ab crunch, and he doesn't have any twist at the waist. He can go out about that far with the legs, so pretty good. He can only go about that far out with his leg forward. He's got a single hinge on the knee, and then the actual the boot has a little bit of movement. You can go a little bit left to right. You can go a little bit up and down, just a little bit locked. So yeah, overall, not too bad of articulation on this. Now, for the first comparison, here he is next to the Heath Ledger Joker, also made by NECA Toys. Now, this one came out last year, so again, if you missed out on this one, you're definitely going to want to pick it up now. Here he is next to the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman, also made by NECA Toys. Here he is next to a couple Terminator figures, and you can see he's just a little bit taller than Arnold. Here he is next to a couple bigger NECA figures in the 7-inch scale, and you can see how Jason and Predator definitely tower over. Here he is next to the Mafex 2.0 Batman from The Dark Knight Rises, and you can definitely see the height difference between 7-inch and 6-inch scale. Now, this was probably the best small scale Batman from the Dark Knight trilogy we had up until this NECA figure. So you could definitely see the quality difference, and the cape just doesn't look nearly as good on that one. The final comparison, here he is next to the Mattel Multiverse Batman Begins, and again, this is in the 6-inch scale. Guys, well, that's my review. All in all, I'm very happy with this figure. It's so cool to see all these different NECA 7-inch scale figures for DC. It's just completely unexpected, and I love these Christmas surprises. You know, these were just really not even announced. It's just somebody kind of ran into them at a store, and you know, a week later, a lot of people already have them. So I think that's so cool that they would do that. You know, last year these these were a really big hit, as was the year before with the '89 Batman. So I'm just hoping that they'd keep doing this year after year. And I also really like this packaging. Pretty much anything, especially in 2005, that was a Batman Begins item had this packaging. So I'm really glad that they kind of went with that nostalgic throwback, just like they did with the 1989 Batman. I mean, I really like this figure. I'm very excited to own it. I was really happy when I saw that it did exist and they actually are releasing this year. There is definitely some gripes, but pretty much only gripes I have is with quality control. Luckily, it doesn't really affect the one that I have, but I have seen people, you know, complaining about some of the paint on the cowl, and particularly the biggest complaint is with the eyes. Some of their eyes were a little bit wonky, so hopefully NECA will maybe revise that just a little bit and try to fix that. But for the most part, you know, if you go to a Toys R Us, try to look through the multiples if you have the chance to, and pick the best one, because this is a great figure and you do not want to miss out on it. Guys, well, thanks for watching my review. Please leave a comment, question if you have any. Please subscribe, and until next time, guys, swear to me.